Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen.
Hey guys, Frightener22 here, and welcome back to Day 9 of my 31 Frightening Days of Halloween Marathon. So tonight we're going to take a bit of a departure, as far as the rest of the month has gone. We're going to take a look at a film that's a little bit more family-friendly. That's right, we're talking about 1993's Walt Disney film pictures, Hocus Pocus. Now this film was actually directed by Kenny Ortega, who actually reached pretty big fame in the last few years by directing the High School Musical films, as well as directing the 1992 film Newsies, as well as, being a really successful choreographer. He was actually responsible for all of the choreography in such films such as Dirty Dancing and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Now this film actually has a really great cast. It stars the likes of Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, Kathy Najimy, Vanessa Shaw, Omri Katz, and Thora Birch. And the story goes a little something like this. It deals with a trio of three witches that are sisters from 17th century Salem, and they are actually eventually executed for their witchcraft. And it isn't until about 300 years later, in the year 1993, that a bunch of pranksters actually bring back the witches into the modern time, and now the witches are actually on the hunt to take over all of the children in the town of Salem to keep their youth and keep them around forever. So it's up to the kids that actually release them back onto the earth. It's their job to actually make sure that they stay dead yet once again. Now, this film's actually really fun. When it debuted, I think it did about $39 million at the box office, but over the years, it's just really gotten more and more popular. It's really become a real big cult classic for Disney. It can always normally be seen on cable networks during the whole month of October, and it really is just, a fun, little, delightful, darker family film for, Disney audiences. The cast, as I said, is really stellar. Sarah Jessica Parker, Bette Midler, and Kathy Najimy just really play their roles really great as the trio of witch sisters. Bette Midler just really has this dazzling way about herself, and Sarah Jessica Parker plays the younger yet more ditzy of the witches, and Kathy Najimy just plays kind of like the nitwit sister of them. And all three of them play their roles really, really well. They're really funny and really get a rise out of kids when they watch this. Now, the casting of the kids was actually really great. Omri Katz is actually the main kid, Max, and many of you guys might actually remember him. He actually starred in Joe Dante's highly, highly underrated film Matinee, as well as starring in the short-lived but cult classic Fox Kids show Erie, Indiana. And interestingly enough, about as far as a little fact about the production of Hocus Pocus, initially when Omri Katz had tested for the role, he was actually feeling pretty he didn't feel too well on the day of his audition here, and that originally had cost him the role. But eventually he was lucky enough to come in, get called in yet again, where he actually snagged the role the second time, because originally what many people are unaware of is that the role that Omri Katz actually plays in this was originally going to be played by Leonardo DiCaprio, but instead DiCaprio turned down the role in order to do What's Eating Gilbert Grape. And I guess a lot of people can't really argue too much against that, of him favoring the role that he got in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, because after all, he did get nominated for an Academy Award, and still to this date, I think that's DiCaprio, one of his best performances. But nonetheless, Omri Katz, I've always just liked him a lot. I was a big fan of the Erie, Indiana show, as well as Matinee, of course. So seeing him in this, just playing, a lot on those, darker, spooky kind of atmospheric, family films and TV shows is always great. He's got a great presence about himself, just very natural, that you could, really believable child, kid actor, which was great. The female lead in it, Vanessa Shaw, she's great, nothing too special, but she was great, beautiful looking girl. She came in, did what she had to do. She played, the love interest of Omri Katz's character, and she was great. Omri Katz's younger sister in this is played by Thora Birch, the up-and-coming Thora Birch, who many of you would remember from 1999's American Beauty, as well as 2001's Ghost World. And it's just so funny because early on in the film you actually hear Omri Katz's character mentioning the age of his little sister, indicating that she's 8. Now, I don't really believe that's how old she was in real life, because it's really funny. This film was in 1993, so then when you jump ahead, 5 years to, 99, 5 or 6 years to 99 in American Beauty, it's like, you see her, she's playing this cute little innocent little sister on Halloween night, and then she's like, flashing her tits in American Beauty. It's just, in such a short amount of time, it's like, it's so funny how, like, actors grow up so quick, and they're just, like, adults being acting in these, really epic scale movies when, like, it just feels like just a few short years went by, and you remember them so much as a kid from that movie, and then you see them, and then it's like a completely different person. It's, it's pretty funny and interesting. But, this film is just a lot of fun. It's really great to pop in during the Halloween season. I mean, it's really, it's definitely one of those, fantastic, fun films that Disney made up, especially, specifically for this time of the year. And it's great to just pop in, especially if you have kids or younger siblings, because they would definitely get a real big kick out of this. I know I do, and I'm, 21, and I still, love this. I actually had just recently picked this up in my collection because I knew I wanted to review this film specifically for the Halloween marathon, and I'm really glad that I did, because it had been, I'd have to say, it probably have to be years since I actually sat down and watched the entire thing from from beginning to end, and it really is just a great fun little film. It'll get a few laughs out of you, and it's an exciting little story. And the special effects are actually really good. There's actually a talking cat in this that you learn throughout the story that he was actually once a human, 300 years before, but the witches actually casted a spell on him, so he's invincible and he lives on, but he lives on in the form of a cat. And being 1993, the effects on the cat are actually really stunning. I mean, you really, you totally believe into the fact that this is a talking, cat. I mean, I have to say that for 93, the effects still hold up. I never really questioned or thought that they looked cheap or gimmicky, so, that just, goes to show how great, the effects team that were working on this film really were. So, in closing, guys, this really is a, fantastic little fun film, to pop on for, the little tykes in your family, or anybody that just has, like, a childlike spirit or, a real deep-rooted love for Disney films. This is definitely one not to be missed if you're looking for, something a little darker, from Disney, but still retaining all the fun and family, the family-orientated spirit that Disney films have always always inhabited. It always comes through in their work. So this is absolutely a fun little film. Check it out if you guys are looking for something a little bit more family-orientated, and enjoy it. As always, guys, thanks again for tuning in to tonight's review. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as the 31 Frightening Days of Halloween Marathon continues. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. This is Frightener 22.